Hey, Hannah.
Yes, Emma?
What do you call it when Batman skips church?
I don't know. What do you call it?
A Christian veil.
Next up, we have Mairead with her talk, The Inevitability of Superheroes.
So I'm here to talk to you about superheroes. They make some of the most successful franchises. The Avengers, X-Men, Batman. They're all multi-billion-dollar empires. The superheroes themselves have become something to lust after, some unrealistic and ultimately fantastical ideal. They're geneticists and magicians and aliens, and above all, they're not real. Spider-Man is not swinging from buildings in New York, and Superman's not leaping over tall ones. There's no mutant utopia in the San Francisco Bay. But that doesn't mean there won't be someday. Technology and biology are progressing in a way that can make comic books so much more than fiction. This is Batman. He's DC's poster boy of a bad childhood. He's also the poster boy of technological advancement, with a utility belt full of bat claws and batarangs and special bat-themed body armor. Luckily for us, his body armor isn't relegated to fiction. The US Army, through DARPA, is currently developing an undersuit that, while not body armor per se, is still designed to protect and enhance the wearer. It's called the Warrior Web. According to Christopher Orlowski of DARPA, the ultimate goal for the wetsuit-like web is to decrease the risk of injury to soldiers, increase muscular endurance, and augment muscular force. So soldiers carry a lot of weight, sometimes almost 100 pounds, and that increased weight increases the downward force on joints, raising the risk of injury to the ankles, knees, and lower back. The web is comprised of tough segments designed to take some of that load. That way, the risk of injury is lower. Additionally, it'll decrease the energy expended in an endurance activity. The saved energy can be used for longer endurance activities or for better performance on cognitive tasks like marksmanship. The web isn't static though, running off a small battery and consuming about 100 watts of power, not much more than your average light bulb. Task B is for the web to work more intelligently with the wearer, for things like thermal regulation or proactive stimulation of muscles. So when you jump and land, your muscles should be relaxed. However, most people tense up and that's how they get hurt. With the web, soldiers don't have to worry about that. The web will provide electric stimulus to the muscles, so that way they'll relax and contract automatically. Additionally, the web will be able to mimic any action made by the wearer. So when you lift, it lifts too, so that way you can lift more. Batman's armor works the same way. You punch, it punches too, and it gives him a little extra oomph. Batman's brother superhero from Marvel is, of course, Iron Man, another billionaire genius with no parents that fights crime in his spare time. Tony Stark uses his genius to create his signature Iron Man suits, and it turns out that the Army worked on that one too. Though discontinued in favor of the lighter and cheaper Warrior Web, David Bergun, an Army journalist, reported in 2010 on the Exos, a wearable exoskeleton that weighed about 150 pounds, but allowed the wearer to carry an additional 200 pounds and run up to 10 miles an hour. Sure, it didn't have the rocket boosters and missile launchers of comic book technology, but it still acted as a significant strength and endurance multiplier for the wearer. Technology first modeled on Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark is out in the world today, but superhero gadgets and gizmos are the only things that are off the pages into the real world. The biology is there too. This is Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. The subject of a terrible early 2000s movie, Matt Murdock was blinded when hit by a truck. He was also exposed to radioactive material in the same accident, and this enhanced his remaining senses. And while Matt Murdock may be fictional, his superpower certainly isn't. When a person suffers a sensory loss, such as total blindness or profound deafness, the area of the brain used for processing that sense, the audio or visual cortex, doesn't just sit there unused. It's used to process the remaining senses. Mary Bates, a Scientific American, reported the results of several studies that showed through PET scans that blood flow in the brains of those who had suffered a sensory loss were different than the blood flow in those who hadn't. This meant that the deaf were much more aware of peripheral vision and touch, and in the blind, the visual cortex was not used for processing sight, but for processing sound, touch, and even language. This is all done without the aid of a comic book origin story full of radioactive goop. It's all natural biology. However, natural just isn't enough for some people. people. They aim to run even faster and jump even higher than natural biology will allow. Captain America represents an unattainable physical ideal, with athleticism beyond that of an Olympian and an indefatigable body, the result of a super soldier serum and fighter rookies. However, we don't have either of those. We do, however, have steroids and blood doping. Anabolic steroids are used by athletes because they greatly increase lean muscle mass, therefore increasing strength and endurance. However, while this gets athletes one step closer to being Captain America, it also puts them 2 steps back, as anabolic steroids produce too much testosterone and cause liver disease and heart failure. Blood doping is often used in conjunction with anabolic steroids to even further increase endurance. According to the World Anti-Doping Agency, blood doping is the technique of increasing red blood cell mass in order to increase oxygen transport and therefore increase endurance. There are 2 methods of blood doping, according to Michelle Denobles of the University of Southern California. The first is a simple transfusion. The second is the use of perfluorochemicals, which are artificial oxygen transporters. The more oxygen in the blood, the longer you can exercise. Now, I'm not saying that if you do drugs and abuse dangerous chemicals, you too can be like Captain America. Don't do drugs. I'm saying that someone like Captain America, with Captain America's level of physical ability, is becoming more and more likely every day. And finally, we have Spider-Man. Peter Parker is a famous Marvel hero who's most famous for being like a spider. He has sticky hands and feet, increased agility and strength, and a fun spider sense. He cannot, however, produce spider silk. According to Marshall Walters and Miles O'Brien of the National Science Foundation, spider silk is being researched for its incredible strength and mobility. It can be used for anything from bulletproof vests to artificial tendons and ligaments. However, spider silk's hard to get. Spiders are territorial and they tend to kill each other when they're too close together, and harvesting silk one spider at a time is tedious and labor-intensive. So to fix this, Randy Lewis of the University of Wyoming decided to splice the gene that codes spider silk protein into goats. The goats then produce spider silk when they produce milk, and the yield is amazing. Yards and yards of spider silk can be produced without the subjects killing each other, and the goats suffer no side effects. I mean, these goats have done what Spider-Man can't even do. They have one-upped the comic book. And if a goat can do it, so can we. So maybe in a couple years, we'll all be wearing seatbelts made of spider silk, or hearing fewer sad stories about injured war veterans. And maybe we'll even have a couple of master crusaders of our own, because the way technology and our understanding of biology are progressing, the appearance of the superheroes that we come to know and love is inevitable. Thank you.